way his constituency wants it. And what do you have to do? If their constituency says, wait a minute, this is going to be a problem, first of all, I don't think it's the role of government to set prices anyway, then they'll do what their constituents wants. Has to happen. So the real question is, can you convince the constituencies of 218 votes in the House and 60 in the Senate to vote in a way that limits government? And I'm a Pollyanna. I think we can. I wouldn't be standing here if I didn't think that, right? It's not that the dinner wasn't nice, but I'm away from my family for 3 days. I'm flying, going through airports which I hate to go through. Why am I doing this stuff? Why am I showing up at the leadership program for the Rockies tomorrow? Because it can work, right? I think it can work, but it's not easy, right? It's not easy, but it can be done. And you know what? If you look at the 2010 and 2014 election results, I mean, do you think that in 2008, do you think you'd have Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz running for president and Rand Paul running for president? Couldn't happen, right? Why are they running for president now? Because the Tea Party movement. But what's the Tea Party movement basically? Limited government movement, right? And whoever wins the presidential election will probably be that way. But presidential elections are not a good signal for the progress that you're making. Off-year elections are the signal, because in off-year elections, you tend to get more people who are concerned about the issues showing up than you do in presidential elections. In presidential elections, I mean, if you really just look at it, who wins presidential elections? It's the person you want to have at the 4th of July picnic, okay? Back to Franklin Roosevelt, when he's listed, you want Franklin Roosevelt, you want him Smith, or, what was his name? Smith. I told you names announced years ago. Who, Al Smith, was Al Smith? Who ran against, you guys don't remember that? Okay, anyway, the guy that ran against Roosevelt, okay? You don't want him, because he's, Roosevelt's, he's fireside chat guy and everything, right? Do you want Barack Obama, or do you want John McCain? No question. You want, want Barack Michelle there. Do you want Bill Clinton, or do you want George W. Bush, right, or George Herman Bush, right? A little uptight. Much rather have, Bill Clinton, right? Now, here's the question. I mean, the reason that 2016 might be good is because you want Bill at the party, you don't want Hillary at the party. So I think the Republicans are going to win in 2016, the presidential election, just because of that. But if you look at the off-year elections, right, what's going on? Free market type ideas are winning in different congressional districts. Paul Ryan's now Speaker of the House. Bob and I knew Paul when he was legislative director for a freshman congressman named Sam Brownback. He's now governor of Kansas. And so he knows about free markets. He believes in free markets. He speaks at Hillsdale College events, and he's Speaker of the House, right? What could happen? Hillary and Bernie Sanders win, and then they die in a plane crash, and Paul Ryan becomes president. Who knows? Not that I want. Just kidding. Don't want that to end up on Twitter. All right. But in any event, Paul Ryan is third in line for the presidency, okay? And he's a guy that believes in limited government. And that, John Boehner didn't. And, Bob and I knew Johnny, a great guy, but, didn't have a political philosophy about what the role of government is and how to be limited. And that's, I think, that each congressional election we're going to do better. And if we win the presidency and we get somebody that can articulate, then we'll do even better. If you get somebody there that's good at explaining why limited government market capitalism works, you'll get even better.
One more question.
I'd like to say we have time for 3 more questions, but only 1 more answer. Yes, in the back.
Okay, so you
to stop that decline is so, look, what's keeping us from going that way? What's keeping us from going that way is government regulation and government taxation and government spending and all this government interference. Right? The only way that stops is if you have a Congress. Look, what did Mary Poppins say? Mary Poppins said, look, enough is as good as a feast. Okay? You should read Mary Poppins. How have you read Mary Poppins? More of you should read Mary Poppins. It's a great book. But anyway, she said enough is as good as a feast. You don't need 300 votes in the Congress. You need 218. Okay? That's the magic number. So what you need to do is you need to get 218 votes that say, hey, we're gonna reduce government. We think the role of government is to be limited to the protection of life, liberty, and property, and we're gonna repeal this act, and we're gonna repeal that act, and we're gonna move to a flat tax, and we're gonna do all these things that reduce the ability of government to intervene. I mean, why do people that have a central plan, why do they want high marginal tax rates with lots of deductions? Because they can get you to do stuff. If you have a marginal tax rate of 70% and I give you a $1 deduction for buying that solar panel, right, it's worth 70 cents to you. Whereas if the marginal tax rate's 4%, it's only worth 4 cents if you do that. So if I want a central plan, I want a tax system which has high marginal rates and a small base, because I'm cutting the base up by getting you, I'll give you this if you do that, and I'll give you this if you do that, and I'll give you this if you do that. And so what we need to do is to think about how can we structure our government, how can we structure that thing so that we can all act according to our own plan. And we can run around and we can please other people. And like I said, you need government. If my plan is to make electricity and it puts sulfur dioxide out in the atmosphere and it flies around and lands in the Great Lakes and interacts with water and turns into sulfuric acid and kills all the fish, okay, that's a problem, right? There's a role for government to step in and say, wait a minute, we got to figure out what the property rights here. And so, and there's also a whole class that we talk a lot about what's called externality problems, where the market isn't going to come up with the right incentives, the right answers. And it's possible that government, in some instances, can come in and do that. But in the end, it's going to be what, because I go back to what Mises said in 1927. It says, why are we going to have World War II and why are we going to have the Great Depression? We're going to have that because of anti-liberal thought. We're going to have that because of a political philosophy that believes in centralized planning. How can we get back? How can we get back? We can only do that by a political philosophy that is classical liberal and believes in limited government and believes in market capitalism and that it produces the greatest wealth for the poor. So with that, thank you very much.
If that wasn't enough reason for me to go to Hillsdale, I don't know what it is. I truly can't do you justice in this conclusion because that was amazing. But what I can say is if he can run like he can teach economics, I truly would not want to race you. So I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out one last time. Thank you, Mr. Anderson and all our Reggie friends for coming out. And so thank you, Dr. Wolfram, again for coming out. And it's truly like wonderful that you can come and talk to such a small group at a small school. That means a lot to us. So thank you to all the people that helped set this up. And I guess with that, I'll close by saying, go read all of his books. If you can help me upstairs and whatnot, that'd be great.